What if I told you that just one single cold call script helped my business book over 157 qualified meetings on the calendar? Imagine the potential for your business if you had this exact script that your sales team could use. Well, today is your lucky day because I'm about to go through this script step by step, not only the script, but actually how you're going to say the words on the script. Now, before jumping into it, here is some proof that this actually worked. Yeah, so like I said, here is some actual proof. So average dials per day, how many dials we made last month, how many connected calls we had. Of those connected calls, how many people our SDRs got from connect to conversation. So how many connects turn into a conversation, and then from there you can see the number of meetings booked, and then our convo to booking percentage, and how many dials it took to book a call on the calendar. And then here is the Stripe invoice specifically from our cold call efforts from last month. So you can say pretty good revenue month. Obviously some deals are still in the pipeline and will close this month and following months, but just some proof. All right, so let's get right into it. This is the actual script word for word that we've trained, mocked, and perfected over the course of a couple of months. So just want to preface that is that a cold call script is never going to be written in stone. The main advantage of cold calling is that you're actually getting direct market feedback on things that are working, not resonating, or resonating. And you constantly want to take in feedback from your sales team and perfect this over time. So this script has been in different versions, different variations over the last couple of months. And I think we hit a really good spot this past month as we booked a bunch of calls, which you just saw. So we break cold calling into what we call as a roadmap. So it comes down to 6 frameworks. So we don't ever have our reps read a script word for word. We use it more as a framework, and those 6 boxes at the top is going to be exactly the roadmap for how the conversation goes from a cold call perspective. So the first one is an intro. That is the absolute beginning of the call, first 10 to 15 seconds. Then we get into the hook, which is essentially your opportunity to pitch, which we'll get into. Once you pitch it, then you go directly into discovery, understanding the pain and the desired outcome of that business. From there, you want to dig deeper into that pain and really get them to commit to that pain. And then once you get them to commit to that pain, we're going to be asking for the meeting. Once we get the meeting, there's some couple of questions on the back end. We call it a post sell. This is where you do a lot of your, base level requirements, qualifications, and setting the tone for what that call is going to entail. So let's get into the intro and the hook, which is arguably the most important, because as a cold call, if you're good at the dig deeper section, but you're not good at the intro and the hook, you're never going to get there, right? Because it's a fluid conversation. You have to be buttoned up from top to bottom. So we use a Sandler methodology, permission-based opener. The biggest and most important things is your tonality and what we call as a pattern interrupt. So when you're calling someone out of the blue on their cell phone unannounced, you need to have a little bit of a pattern interrupt, or else you're going to get a lot of hangups and angry people on the other side of that phone. So you need to become confident, you need to be direct, you need to have good pacing and inflection and deflection of tone. You can't sound like you're reading a script. Like it's like, hey name, hey prospect, my name is Dalen, I'm the client success guy with automated. Like you're gonna understand that you're reading a script. It's gotta sound like you send this hundreds to thousands of times before. It needs to sound normal. Hey guys, real quick, if you're watching this video and you're like, I don't have someone to cold call, we can actually place a already trained and vetted cold caller appointment setter SDR into your business. Hit that first link in the description, book a call on my team. We've done this over 350 times this year, so we can definitely get you sorted out. Back to the video. So once we got that out of the way, let's get into the actual script here. So the way we started is, hey name, my name is Dylan. I'm the client success guy with automated revenue. I know I'm catching you out of the blue here. Just wanted to take a quick 27 seconds to tell you why I called, and then you could let me know if you wanted to keep talking. Would that be a problem? Or does that sound fair? Then you pause. So essentially what you're saying, and you're being upfront honest about this, is that, hey man, I am calling you out of the blue. We both understand what's going on here. But if you just give me like 30 seconds, 27 is a little more specific. That's a pattern interrupt. you can even see if it makes sense to keep talking from there. So super transparent, super honest. A lot of people that you're calling anyway are business owners, people who understand cold calling and sales. So this works really, really well. In a B2C situation, this doesn't work as well. So as a disclaimer, this is more of a B2B script. So once they say yes, and that's what we track, right? This would be a conversation. So once someone says yes to the intro, that's a conversation. That's how we're tracking that. So you want to understand how many people pick up the phone and how many people are saying yes to that intro. Again, if you're not getting a lot of yeses, you might have to switch words there. But once you get into the actual conversation, this is your opportunity to pitch. This is your floor per se, right? You have the audition. So cool, thanks. Like I mentioned, I work with Automated Revenue. We are not an outsourced sales agency, but what we do is we help businesses who are prioritizing or looking to increase appointments or sales, but they're typically running into a couple of challenges in doing so. As you can hear my tonality there, it's not robotic. I have inflections, I have pauses, it's confident. It's like I said it a bunch of times, right? And then from here, we have one, but I do recommend having multiple here. What you're really looking to do in these pain points or reasons why people work with you is you want to identify and call out 1-2 pain points that people see before working with you. And you want to make sure that these are not too broad, but not too specific, where a lot of people would say yes, or I resonate, or understand what you're saying. So what we say, right, is the main challenge are that they're either too busy to spend the time it takes to hands-on build an effective process, hire the right people, and then manage all of it, or they don't have experience successfully doing all of that in the past, the level that they're currently at, and want some help, right? So what we're saying is that they are doing the thing, or they're not able to do the thing, which 90% of people are going to fall into those two categories, right? If you already have a bunch of meetings in the calendar, you're going to need help getting better qualifications. If you don't have meetings in the calendar, you're going to have to start getting meetings in the calendar, right? So most people fall into those two categories, which is kind of a little hack to continue a lot of conversations. And then after that, either way, depending on where they're at, there are a few different ways where we'll come in to help get our hands dirty and systematize their entire process without draining a lot of their time, helping them work more on the business rather than in it. So that being said, with where you guys are at company name, how important is getting more appointments on the calendar or improving your sales? And then from here, you're going to let the prospect kind of tell you, get a temperature check, right? Oh, well, we do this, or this doesn't really sound of interest, right? So if they do resonate with one of the pain points, that's where you want to kind of navigate the conversation, right? You just got them to tell you what they are interested in, what they care about. Don't be like, cool, and then divert into like your features, right? This is going to lead them down the path of the conversation based on what they're telling you is important or top of mind to them and their business. Now, the third pain point here is the pain they need to alleviate, the problem that they want solved, or the goal that they're looking to hit, right? So revert them back to the pain in the call if they don't give it to you right away. So here are some common objections that we have on this sheet for our sales guys. Keep your tone relaxed, disarming, and you want to agree with a lot of what they're saying and not be combative, right? Now, if they aren't giving you any type of pain or desired outcomes, there's a couple of strategies that we help coach and train our guys on because each prospect and business is a little bit unique, right? So if they don't say that one of those resonate, we go into the second chance. So, oh wow, I don't hardly hear that at all. Curious. You guys have never run into those things, or you're not trying to improve your appointments or your sales? Kind of just reaffirming the question and making sure that it's really not, and they're not just, brushing it off. Another great way is to do adjacent pain, right? Oh, well, do you have any frustrations in your process similar to those? Really, maybe you didn't hit the nail on the head, but you're close. Ego stroke, right? Stroking their ego. So what do you have figured out that no one else does, right? Kind of like, hey, you got to figure it out. We don't hear that a lot. I'm kind of curious, right? Or we go into the utopia, right? It sounds like everything is perfect in your process and you don't have anything you think could be potentially improved at all. Kind of like facetious there. And then in the short pitch, right, in the negative tonality, right, sounds like that's not even something you'd be interested in, right? And short pitch is like kind of a high level elevator pitch of what we do. And then here are some common objections that probably all of us on this video have heard, right? They don't have the pain, they're not interested, they're too busy, or they're like, hey, just send me an email with more information. We've all heard that, right? So obviously we want want to script and train around common objections. So they have something right at the tip of their tongue. Whenever they hear something, they can go, boom, I know how to say this, right? Creating less variables in the salesperson's like psyche is going to make a much more efficient and quick rebuttal to an objection. There's no there's no pauses. They're not really thinking too much. That's kind of what this script in this area is for. So they say, we're not really seeing any of that. Oh, no worries. Just before I let you go, be super clear, right? You guys aren't looking to get more appointments or close more deals right now. Really good. Or if they're not interested, awesome. So like no problem. To be honest, I'm not even sure if we could help you. So we'd have to better understand what you're doing with your current sales process, your playbook, your targeting, your systems, just to see if we can even help you, because there's a chance we might not be able to. If we find out we can continue the conversation, or if we find out we can't, happy to end the call. Would you be opposed to that? Right? Just being super open and fair, right? And then if they go in to send me an email, yeah, okay, I can definitely send you an email. Obviously in the email, you'll be wanting to see how we could help you if we even could. So to send you a really good email out of what I just shared around growing your appointments or improving your sales, what would be most helpful to you if we could do it? This is going to open them back up to discovery, tell them exactly what they want to hear more about from you. It's kind of like you understand, you accept they want to send an email, but in the email, which makes common sense, what do you actually want me to send you? Right? I don't want to send you just something generic. What do you actually want to look at? Right? Super powerful. So the fourth one is we already have something for this. We're already working with an agency. How are you different than what we're doing? This is how we do that, right? Yeah, not a problem. And so you're aware, I'm not even quite sure you would want or even need to switch away from the agency you're working with. Before I could even know that though, I'd have to hear just a little bit more about how you operate and how you're using that agency and if we could help. If we find out we can, happy to continue the conversation, or if we can't, we could end the call. Does that sound fair? Really good ways of deflecting and moving the conversation and navigating it to the objective, which is booking the call, right? So hypothetically, let's say that we've gotten the pain. We gotten the hook in the mouth. Now we need to set the hook, right? So we need to dig deeper, right? Get an impact. How is this hurting the business? Get them to commit, saying yes. This is something that we need to fix ASAP, right? So it's really about digging deeper, right? Don't just take things at face value. You're going to need to dig deeper into that pain to understand and uncover more of that pain. Super simple, right? Could be something like this. Can you tell me more about that? Why has this been a frustration for you recently? If time is the pain point, what would you do with that time if you had it back, right? Maybe they're managing their salespeople too much. It's taken away from higher leverage business tasks. What has kept you from hitting those goals that they just told you, right? So this is the commitment, right? Is that pain important enough to fix? Is this a priority for you to fix right now, right? If the prospect is making it seem like the pain isn't so bad, is not having a heavy impact on their business, you need to, as a salesperson, get them to commit to the idea that this is worth solving. You don't have to get them to assume that we're the solution, but only that it is a good solution did exist, it would be worth looking into, right? So maybe it's you, maybe it's someone else. You need to make them understand that the reason why they're not growing their business is because the number of appointments, right? Or the quality of their sales team or processes, things like that, right? So typically when I hear someone say that, it's something they'd solve if they knew how or could solve it. Is that the case for you guys? So what conversations have you had about solving this? Right? What have you guys tried so far in the past to fix this problem? This is going to uncover a lot of, underlying problems. Maybe they worked with an agency that totally burnt them and they're just like super calloused about the fact of sales and improving sales, right? This is going to help you dig deeper into objections that you would hear later on into the call. So when you're addressing possible problems early and getting information on them, you're going to have much easier time booking and closing deals. Right? But once we've actually understood their pain, made them to commit and show them the impact of not solving this problem, then that's easy, right? Now you go directly into the meeting ask. So great. Like you said, John, you're really having some trouble getting those appointments through the finish line. Could be some things with your systems or processes. Most of the time I hear that, they're open to a quick 15 to 30 minute conversation. And we can speak specifically and see how us helping pain point seems like a no-brainer in not? Are you opposed to setting something up quick? So I know I call you out of the blue here and interrupted what you're working on. Are you open to chatting about this tomorrow, even later this week, right? Deflecting, saying, hey, I already taken enough of your time. Let's just have a more serious conversation later this week, right? Then you want to have your booking link right on this sheet. So all your reps should have this open. So make it easy, right? They can pull up this booking link. They can put all the information in, book the call, boom, go on to the next, right? Now, once you book the meeting, once the hard part's out of the way, you got them to commit to a meeting. Now this is your time to post sell. So, hey, just a couple more things so I can make the meeting super relevant for you. Is there anything that would come up or prevent you from being able to show up? And then something that we do a little bit funny here is like, hey, so let's just say the basement floods or Godzilla comes through your city during our scheduled time. How would we handle rescheduling? Right? Like really affirm that it's important for them to show up on the call, have a little bit of, comedic areas in there. Also, if there's any qualifications that you would need, like how many, employees do they have or what's their revenue, anything like that, this is a really good section to just rattle those off as they've already committed to it and you're, really helping them make the best use of this next call so they don't have to start from square one on that second call. So with the right cold call script, you're going to now have the ability to truly change the trajectory of your business. If you want to see all of the other systems that we're using to book over 260 calls every single month across inbound, outbound, email, LinkedIn, DM setting, whatever it is, we use everything internally. Watch my last video where I go step by step into not only how we're booking meetings through cold calls, but through every single channel. I'll also be linking that in the description below. And if you have any questions on how I did this or any tips or tricks, please leave it in the comments. I do read and respond to every single one of them. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like and subscribe button. I'll be putting out a lot more valuable content just like this. Final words, once again, if you're looking to hire an already trained cold caller or appointment setter in scripts just like the one I went through you, hit another link in the description here to book a call with my team. We've done this over 350 times this year alone. We'll definitely get you sorted out, get you hiring the correct talent so you can now see successes like we're seeing. I'll see you in the next videos.